Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of Come On Ref. I've got all my friends in here with me. We're going to wipe the slate clean today. It's there's going to be a lot of white jokes today. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
White
It's just
Tuesday.
a lot of number two stuff going on today. But we got a pretty good show, man. The Browns kind of did something exciting. I mean, I don't know. These uniform variations, did they go oranger again? Remember when they went more orange with the helmets?
Yeah.
We called it oranger. Yeah, that's I don't know, something exciting with the Browns. I guess it's kind of exciting. It's whatever. We got to talk about, it's Women's World Cup time. I mean, it's pretty exciting for soccer, right? Like, I mean, it's time. We're getting ready to start. We're less than 24 hours away, right, from the first actual match of the Women's World Cup, right?
Yeah,
We'll definitely talk about that. The Cavaliers won something. We'll briefly mention that as well, and then we got to talk about what Shohei Ohtani is doing this year because I think we all know he's absolutely ridiculous, but let's just get right into it, man. I want to talk about the Browns because the Browns yesterday announced that they're going to be wearing all white uniforms, which isn't really a new thing. They've worn the white pants and shirt combo before, but now they're adding a white helmet as a part of the alternate uniform. It's a throwback to the 1946 team. Listen, I understand. I completely get it. The 1946 team went 12-2, won an NFL championship. Had a couple All-Pro guys. Had a guy named Max Speedy. I think that's fantastic. I mean, come on, can't beat that, right? Max Speedy, 6-year All-Pro, by the way. But yeah, I don't know the white helmets. What do you guys think about these white helmets? Have you seen them?
I've seen them. I like them. I like them. It's just I think you have to use them. Kind of like we were talking about off stream. I don't think it would look good with brown pants. Like I think like a white helmet, white top and orange pants would look good, or like all white. But I just don't like. I think obviously they're going to be for special occasions, like most special jerseys are.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's going to be those. I think it's going to be that thing where you're going to see people and players like excited to wear the white jerseys because it's something new for the Browns. You haven't seen them in years. You just when you think of the Browns, you think of orange helmets.
Yeah.
Now you throw a white helmet in there, it's going to get people excited. So
Yeah.
I like them.
So this is helmet number. Well, I would say helmet number 2, but it's actually helmet number 3. So we can't make that joke because they do have a brown. They have the color rush helmet. But let's just take a look. I want to take a look at the graphic and just take a look at what they kind of look like with the uniforms. The interesting thing that I noted here, like I said, they got the 1946 patch. They're fantastic. I love the helmets. But if you look down at the bottom left, can we look at who these uniforms are presented by? Presented by what? Dude wipes? Dude wipes? Is this an NFL thing or a Browns thing? Do we know?
I would say a Browns thing, but
Is it just a Browns thing? Because man, do the Browns not have enough going on? Do they have to really reach out to dude wipes to get what are we doing? Listen,
hey, we need a sponsor. You guys want to sponsor us?
Absolutely, dude wipes, please.
We
have sound effects.
I guess DeBella subs wasn't available.
Well, sometimes after DeBella subs, I need a couple dude wipes, but it's fine. Listen, I don't think. Do you guys think it's a coincidence that the helmets are going to be debuted in week number 2?
Yes.
You think that's a coincidence?
Hey, you know what? I think the helmet itself, the only thing cooler would have been had we didn't before the Bengals did a white helmet.
Fair enough.
As far as we've kind of seen this before already. The Bengals have an all-white uniform with a white helmet, and theirs is doper than the Browns, if you ask me. But
I don't disagree with that.
I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I just think it would have been cooler had they been the first to do it.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the Bengals white uniforms being a little better than the Browns. I love the white helmet, the black stripe. I love that. I mean, I love that look.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'll be really honest there. But yeah, I don't know. So that's where we are. White helmets. I like the white helmets. I'm not sure I love that they're sponsored by Dude Wipes because I feel like that just the Browns are already a laughingstock in the NFL too.
Yeah, it makes them more like a joke.
Yeah, it makes it feel like a little, and it's funny. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's a great product. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there was a need for it. I mean, dudes are dudes, I guess, and sometimes you got to wipe. But I don't know. Anyway, let's just move on from this. I think that's enough of that. We do want to keep it in the NFL, and I know Jackson, you had something. Free agency has been kind of weird with running backs in the NFL, right? It's a passing league. We know that. But are the running backs in the NFL really making enough money? I mean, what's going on?
No, actually, it's becoming the most disrespected position to play as far as money goes because the only guys that are in worse contract situations are punters and kickers. Now, one thing you have to remember, the running back position, the way it's set up, the first 5 years is your rookie deal. And for you to kind of gain the numbers and the stats to get that big money, you got to be the workhorse. You're going to have to get the touches and the carries, which in return is going to bang your body up. So what do the owners do when it's time to get the new money? They're going to bring up the fact you've got all these miles on you, you've had these injuries, and now they don't want to pay you. My solution is pay the guys up front. Either pay the guys up front, give them the big money early on when they're doing the most damage the first 5 years of their career, or make it to where these guys can get to free agency sooner, 2 years. They shouldn't have to run a rookie contract for 5. Run the rookie contract to 2 or 3 years and then go from there. That way they can still get the bag and still have tons of, productivity to get.
Yeah. Listen, I don't disagree with that because do you guys, I don't know offhand. Do you know the average running back career? It's not long, right?
4.5 years.
6 to 8 years. Average.
Well, okay. There's 2 different numbers. But yeah, either way, you're not really looking much past. If it's 6 to 8 years, you're not looking much past that initial rookie contract. If it is 4.5 years, it's conveniently timed. The rookie contract gets you right about to the end of the average running back career, and then owners don't have to worry about paying guys.
That's a loaded question because you mean how long is their superstar prime period? That's about 2 to 3 years, but you can come off the bench after year 6 somewhere. You know what I mean? You can be a third string guy or a third down guy. But as far as being that totalitarian workhorse, like a Nick Chubb, for example, he's technically in his prime. After this year, they're not going to want to pay. Matter of fact, get ready to see him leave.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's felt like it's kind of been headed that way anyway. Just from terms of just simple usage. I mean, it's like sometimes I feel like Kevin Stefanski doesn't know that Nick Chubb is on that roster. We're throwing the ball 45, 50 times in the middle of winter, coming off the lake, and you've got Nick Chubb right there.
That's a good point to bring. But the one thing I notice a lot of times is the last few teams that have won Super Bowls, they didn't have like a marquee running back. They pretty much were either able to get it done by committee, or like Kansas City, they had a rookie from Rutgers that nobody heard of named Isaiah Pacheco that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He just so happened to be on the Chiefs and just so happened to be the starting running back.
Yeah.
So it's proven you don't necessarily need a superstar. It's not like you need an Emmitt Smith to 3P or Thurman Thomas to go corner.
Yeah.
Those days are dead.
I don't disagree with that either. I mean, you're right. There have been some teams that have gone to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl without that marquee name at running back. And the difference is they've had the marquee name at quarterback. And I think that's kind of why we're seeing the shift. I mean, like I said, it's a passing league,
That's where you get your superstar at the QB.
Yeah. So teams are spending $40, $50 million a year on quarterbacks now. I mean, you quite literally can't afford a running back. So you stock up on a bunch of, 1.5 and 2 receivers and 3, you can't even, I don't even know if you can afford really a top receiver anymore I don't know. I mean, we're just headed toward a really strange contract situation in the NFL. I mean, quarterbacks are about to get paid so much money. Is there going to be room for anybody else on the roster? I mean, Jameson, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I just think QBs are always going to get paid the most simply because they're 1 or 2 players on the field besides the center that touch the ball every play. And you could also argue, since they are the most important skill position, they have the most effect on the game. But then, like, after that, it's like, well, who do you pay more? Do you pay the offensive lineman to protect your most paid player? Or do you pay the defensive lineman more to go get the other team's most paid player? Or do you pay the receivers more to make the best paid player look better? It's just it's different. Or do you pay the kicker more who hits the game-winning field goal in the field or in the Super Bowl twice for Tom Brady, guys like Adam Vinatieri? No, you don't. But you consider that. in
Yeah.
that moment, but I don't know. I mean, the
Well, it's
cap
tough.
is only going up in every sport. Inflation is only going up. So sooner or later, running backs are going to get paid. But we can all trace this back to the running back market being ruined by none other than Le'Veon Bell. I mean, I think it's one of the most obvious and clear things. He literally ruined the running back market because he thought he was Eric Dickerson, Jim Brown, and Tony Dorsett in one. All right. He was great, don't get me wrong, but he was not supposed to be making as much as he did. And clearly it showed on the Jets, and it showed already because he's out of the league.
I mean, same with Todd Gurley, right? He signed that huge deal after his rookie deal, and
that's different, though. Todd Gurley's knees just decided to have a little bit of arthritis going like 50 years before it was supposed to happen. I mean, Todd Gurley was an MVP.
Oh, no, I know that, but I'm saying he signed that big deal. And I mean, obviously, yeah, his knees went bad, but still at the same time, like if your knees aren't in the greatest shape, like, don't say that, like, you can still play and sign a huge deal.
Well,
wait a minute. Hold on, Ben. You expect these guys to give money back?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that, but
these owners who are just literally
rich
profiting from, I mean, dude, no. Listen, I don't care if my leg is falling off. If you offer me the contract, my leg can fall off under the table and I'm signing. I'm putting ink on that thing. I don't care.
Right.
Sorry.
My leg's about to fall off and I just had 1,400 receiving yards. I'll say, I'll do it again, buddy.
Yep.
And I'll be injured collecting the check.
Yep. I will be on the pup list all season. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Yep.
There's a reason they call it not for long NFL.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, I'm taking all the money you're offering me as much as I can get for as long as I can get it. Sorry. That's just it. Listen, some team loyalty is I'm fine with that, okay? I get like restructuring a contract to maybe sign a big name left tackle if you're a quarterback or to get a receiver or something. But listen, I'm not going to go to the team and go, "Hey man, I really physically can't do it anymore. You should probably cut me." I'm not doing it. Sorry, pay me. I mean, I've worked hard my entire life. I've sacrificed everything. I'm not going to give in to an owner sitting in a box, making $1 million a minute watching me play. Like, give me my money. I'm taking my money. That's it. Sorry.
Right.
I'll never side with the owners on this, ever.
Well, Saquon Barkley will probably not be at camp. He probably won't be playing preseason. And I think that's messed up because the Giants, they're going to need Saquon. He was a big part of what they were doing last year.
Yeah.
And if you got Daniel Jones at quarterback, man, you're going to need Barkley back there as well.
Right. So it's kind of a mixed bag. What you're telling me is you don't need a running back, but sometimes you do, right? Like,
you do.
Yeah.
In most cases, you need somebody back there that can get you a first down. He can get you 4.5 any given time. It's like you want a guy that can run when it's not 30 below, but when it's 30 degrees, you want that guy. You want him to be able to play in the snow. You want the guy that doesn't get banged up. Like, there's room for the running back. He's a necessity. The problem is, how do you pay him? How do you compensate him for the way his job set and skill set is set up?
It's such a valid question because nowadays the right tackle is nearly as important as the left tackle because it's not like you have one good defensive end out there in the league. I mean, most guys have a really strong defensive line. I mean, you've got to have both tackles pretty established. I mean, you've got to protect your quarterback. It's not just the blind side anymore. You've got to have somebody that can catch the ball. You need a good tight end. It's like the running back is becoming 4th, 5th, 6th down the line, but it's still a very important position. I
just want to touch on the running back position. Obviously, yes, I agree. Running backs are underpaid, but at the same time, it's, I think owners look at it from the side of like, hey, we can only, hey, we can get away with paying these guys, for 4 or 5 years, then we go out and we can just find the replacement, and after these 5 years are over, and get the same exact player and just do it all over again.
Well, it's the one position I think you can plug a guy in, and you don't really have to know the playbook as well as if you're a receiver, a quarterback, whatever. You can plug a guy in at running back, and it's pretty touch and go. I mean, you can just get in there and go and play, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you can kind of just like, you can, like you said, owners like, hey, okay, we'll draft this guy, we'll give him his 5-year rookie deal, and then when his contract's up, we'll just go draft another guy and give him his 5 years and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Either the 5 years should be smaller or the deal should be bigger. And when I say the deal should be bigger, go on and set them up for the entirety of the contract, but make it to where, let's say you get a contract for 5 years worth hypothetically $100 million. First year you get your $20 million. If you don't perform to a certain standard, guess what? In year 2, you don't get your $20 million. You get something different. It'll be less than $20 million. However, you still have the potential to get the entire 120, or I'm sorry, the entire 100. You just may not get it the way it's structured. You're going to get it based on how you perform. That's the only way to make it fair.
Listen, good luck getting the Players Association to agree to that on the CBA, on the next CBA.
Yeah, because then you have to make everything. Because then you have to make all the rookie contracts guaranteed, basically.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. It makes sense. But the Players Association is never going to say, "Yeah, that works. We could take less money if we don't." Yeah, that works.
But it's specifically that position.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one position that, as you get older, you don't necessarily get better at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like driving a sports car off the lot from the showroom with 0 miles. As soon as you run him out there, he's no longer going to be worth what he was yesterday.
Yep.
And every game he plays, he's worth less and less.
Yep.
So you got to compensate him up front for the fact you're not going to want to pay him on the back end. You're going to tell him he's too old.
It's hard because I agree with every argument on every side of this. This is tough, and it puts another thing into perspective. Like, do you guys remember when the Browns swindled the Colts into a first-round draft pick for? Do you remember this?
Trent Richardson.
How did that happen? How?
Trent Richardson averaged 1.2 yards per carry the entire time in Cleveland.
Yeah, he had 1.7 holes seen per career. Also,
that's.
Wow, that dude.
Mike Lombardi was a GM.
Barely averaged 4 feet a carry.
Oof.
Yeah, he was terrible.
He went to Alabama. Oh.
Every running back out of Bama since has actually been good too. By the way,
yeah, like Josh Jacobs, Najee,
Derrick Henry, Harris. Yeah,
who's the one guy?
Damian Harris.
Yeah, Damian Harris. Yeah, too. Yeah.
Even T.J. Yeldon was solid.
Yeah.
Literally every running back since Trent Richardson and Bama has been like an NFL running back. A couple of Super Bowl winners. Too.
Yeah. I don't understand what happened to Trent Richardson. First of all, I want to make that point. I have no idea what happened to him. But the second point is, with the running back position, it's just like I said, it's tough because the NFL obviously has the most aggressive, roster limitations, salary cap. You got 53 spots. And that's barely enough to even field what feels like a complete team. I mean, sometimes when I'm looking at these cut lists, and training camp, I'm like, man, you've got to cut 26 people today. And it's you've got 70 football players on this roster that can play. I mean, how do you do, you know what I mean? How?
And think about it, you have to pay some of those guys on that 53-man roster and only maybe 30 of them play.
Yeah.
Right. On a consistent
basis.
basis.
On a consistent basis. And the other ones, and plus you got to play the guys on the practice squad too. So it's
which is 8 more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That are there just in case.
What's even crazier, the worst team in the league is still loaded with what's considered best players in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
If you made a roster, you're considered one of the best football players in the world, and your team's 2-50.
Absolutely. It's
bizarre.
bizarre.
They're some of the best in the world. They're just not the best in the NFL.
What'd you say?
I said they're considered some of the best football players in the world. They're just not the best in the NFL.
Exactly.
That's a weird statement, but it makes sense.
What goes to show any given week, this year it's going to have so much parity now that Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. I mean,
we say that every year. This year's going to have so much parity, but then the Browns will go 2-15. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? They got to play the Bengals in week 1. The Browns are going to have to come out the gate with a W. They're going to have to do something very un-Browns-like and win, and that's a win week 1.
Yes, they're going to have to win in week 1.
They're going to set the tone for the next 5 weeks.
Yes, and I'll tell you for multiple reasons. Because week number 2, you've got the Dude Wipes helmets in Pittsburgh. You're going to have to win week 1 because if you go 0-2 wearing the Dude Wipes helmets, it's not going to be good.
Division losses.
Yeah, with 2 division losses.
And then we play the Ravens in week 3 too.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
Oh my.
The NFL is trying to bury us.
The message.
The Browns are about to get dude wiped. We'll see what happens.
If the Browns start 0-3, that's going to be the biggest meme in the NFL.
I'm done. I'm gonna just go to the top of Terminal Tower. The rest will write itself. I can't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be.
I'll wait for the CFL to start. Honestly,
No.
Saskatchewan Roughriders, baby. Whatever. I don't care. It's whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the CFL if they start 0-3. I swear to God,
I don't even care anymore.
start watching some 3-down football.
See,
Kevin Stefanski is going to be on the hot seat all through the winter.
the Browns should use those all white uniforms to their advantage. When it's snowing, just blend in, just lay down.
Where are they? Where are they? Where are the Browns? Right.
You know, do the kickoff thing. You know, where the guy lays down in the end zone and waits, and then the guy turns around and throws it to him, and he runs it for a touchdown. I mean, the final score might be 49-7, but at least you got some points.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Funny.
Oh, so it could be a long year. Let's move on. Let's move on to something else that doesn't really matter. What matters? I shouldn't say that. Let's just talk about it. The Cavaliers have won the NBA Summer League title over the who? The what? The
parade.
Rockets. Okay. Hold on.
Is there a parade?
Rockets? What is this? What is the Summer League? Explain how this is relevant to anything. Explain how this means anything.
It's not. It's like preseason in the NFL.
It's worse than
It
that.
shows. Yes, they do get a ring. They do have a ring. They got a ring and a T-shirt.
So now
Like
you
a
can
legit ring too.
get the summer league ring, the midseason ring, and a world title.
So are there going to be weekly divisional rings? Like if the Cavs are like the top team in the Eastern Conference in like, you know, I don't know, week 1, do they get a week 1 ring for being on top of the conference? Is that what we're doing now?
That.
I think
Keep
there's
them going.
Kind of like a participation trophy.
Just get more until you get the real thing.
That's it. Did anybody even play for the Cavs? Are there any even numbers to go? I didn't even look at the numbers. I'm going to be
Yes,
really honest with you.
actually, Sam Merrill had two games. In his last 2 games, he made a combined like 16 3-pointers.
Yeah, didn't he like tie the record for most threes made in summer league history?
Yeah,
or something like that?
it was like 9 or 8.
I saw he averaged almost 19 points a game during the, you know, I don't know. That's
He was
something.
good.
Isaiah Mobley played pretty well.
Isaiah Mobley is going to be on the roster by the end of the year. I can tell you that. Amani Bates is going to get some significant time too. He only got better with every game. And I can't think of the other guy, the other guard we got. Sharif Cooper, he's nice.
Okay.
He was I watched some of his G League games last year. He had a couple of 30, 40 point, like 10 assists games for the not Canton Charge, the Cleveland Charge. But
okay.
I'd say those 4 guys are like the only guys on our team in Summer League who would actually have a chance on our roster or any NBA roster. And then we also had some other good filler guys. It was nice too to just see Donovan Mitchell there supporting the team, because then that I'm pretty sure that makes all the fans who think he's just going to leave feel a little better. Because think about it, if your superstar player, right, your max contract players at the Summer League game, when he could be doing whatever, I mean anything, literally anything else, I think that shows that he really cares about the progression of the organization.
I just want to touch on that really quick. I mean, like halfway through last year, I mean, you know, we talked about it before you got on the show, JMO, and he was talking about, you know, like how much fun he's having playing in Cleveland. He says it's the most fun he's had playing basketball in a long, long time. And I mean, when you can instantly come to a team and say that, I mean, he's definitely going to reconsider signing when this contract's up, because if he's having fun, why wouldn't you want to stay in a place you're having fun, you know, instead of, you know, obviously everyone wants to win a ring. You know, that's the goal of the NBA. You know, when you make it, you know, I want to win a ring. But at the same time, you know, you also want to have fun because it's your job.
Think about where he was before, though. Think about where he was before.
True. He was.
You know, that doesn't feel like a fun organization, right?
No, I agree, but
or a fun crowd or a fun. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. That
I agree, you know, but like I'm saying though, you know, like players can still find ways to have fun, you know, on bad teams, and I just don't think he was having fun in general. And he came to Cleveland, you know, and he loves the attitude, you know, he loves the energy we bring, and I think I generally think he'll sign another deal with Cleveland when his max contract.
And to be clear, I didn't even mean the team. I just mean like things that are going on with the fans. Yeah, it just feels like an uncomfortable place to play.
Utah's not a place for brothers.
No, straight up, like straight up.
I mean,
for large amounts of money.
Yeah, it kind of Utah is. You know, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I can see why he's having more fun. I'll leave it at that. That's
He
all.
wants
There's the only reason they have the Jazz.
he wants to be a Knick.
But
Think so?
the Knicks,
That's what he wants to be. He won't say it, but he does.
You're not a Knicks fan, too, are you?
Heck no.
I was gonna say we got to get him off. Just close his window. He's gone if he's a Knicks fan.
that just what, yeah, show's over.
All right, so we're done. This is the last episode. Sorry, series finale. So listen, what can we really read from a summer league title? Anything at all? I mean, do we know that our 9, 10, 11, 12 guys on the roster are better than other guys' 9, 10, 11, 12?
I mean,
I think-
you could take that away, I guess.
You can take that, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of like
What about
I
1
mean,
through 8?
I could be wrong, and it's kind of like NFL preseason in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the rookies are getting to showcase, what they have. In the preseason, first couple weeks, the starters might not play. Like your Aaron Rodgers, your Mahomeses, guys like that. Then once you get to week 3 now, they're playing, the entire first half, and it's just basically the guys that they just want to get one last look at. Whereas in the summer league, that whole roster is composed of, second, third year guys that are still trying to make a living in basketball. So they're out there competing because they want a spot.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit more competitive integrity because I think the value's a little bit more than NFL and, preseason.
Yeah.
But then, you start preseason games in October and the star players still don't play. So those guys are getting another chance to show what they have. So, I mean,
Sure.
I think there's a little bit more value in summer league than there is in other sports preseasons.
Okay. And listen, I don't mean to take anything away from these guys at all. To go out there and compete and win a title at any level is pretty good, right? Especially with other professional players. I mean, these guys are playing on a level of sports that I could never dream of playing on. So, obviously, we're being a little snarky, we're having a little fun, but yeah, it's just not. Yeah, I don't mean to. I don't mean to take anything away from them. It's an accomplishment. Okay.
It's not a big deal, but it's a good deal.
It's a good deal, right? It doesn't mean that the Rockets are going to go 60-22 and the Cavs are going to meet them in the NBA Finals this year. It's not what that means. It just means
Chad,
both these organizations have some good things going on with some young guys.
Chad, if you call that and that happens, I'm marking this moment.
Okay, 60-22.
If you call that and that happens, I'll buy you drinks for a weekend.
I will be surprised if the Rockets have a lead in 60 games.
We got a comment.
It's a game of runs, and I will be surprised if the Rockets hold a lead in 60 games. I was going to say that.
Oh, my mom.
That's all.
My mom commented.
But if they go 60-22, you guys owe me.
Hello to J-Mo's mom.
Trent Richardson.
Hello to J-Mo's mom.
He didn't like
Hey,
I'll tell you that.
yo, I like Trent Richardson too, man. I just don't know what happened to him. I just
It's
don't.
like, oh, you have a comment? What is it?
I like this, man. All right, some engagement. I like engagement. Listen, there was nothing wrong with Trent Richardson. He forgot how to find
The
holes and the field and
the field. What he was playing on.
Yeah.
What is this surface I'm playing on? What is this?
Do you remember there was a picture of him? And do you remember he had like a wide open hole?
Yeah, I know exactly.
With the circles.
Yeah.
With the circles.
Yeah. And he was running directly into the line. Like
he's like running right behind Alex Mack. It's like,
listen,
what
man,
is
some
that?
guys don't like to take the easy way, right? He went to Bama, that's the hard way. Like, I'm not running through the hole when there's contact here. I'm not taking the hole. What are you doing? I don't blame him. It's whatever. We all like Trent Richardson. We want to move on because I don't know what the heck is going on in the summer league, but the Cavs won it. That's fine. Let's talk about a little bit of baseball. I know we said last week we were going to try to take some time to get into some of like the pitching leaders or whatever, but I think there's just something more pressing that we want to talk about, man. What is going on with Shohei Ohtani? Like, can we stop selling him short now, please? He's on a pace for just over 60 home runs, and by the way, he's probably a top 15 pitcher in the league.
He is.
Can we stop making him do this for 27 years or whatever before we're impressed? Like, he's already surpassed what Babe Ruth has done as a pitcher and a hitter at the same time. Just already.
I mean,
right?
Yes, but if Shohei can keep this up for, even if he plays, 6-7 more years, I think he goes in the Hall of Fame
Easily.
Like, I don't think he has to play. I don't think he has to play much longer to be considered one of the greatest of all time.
That's not a question. Who's questioning that?
Oh,
Believe me, people have asked that question. No one with any credibility. But it's all the social media trolls, all the people you see on the same, comment sections all the time talking about, they openly admit to DMing athletes after losses or whatever. I mean, it's those people who have the question. Nobody reputable has this question.
Speaking of that,
He'll be one of the guys who doesn't have a ring. That even if he didn't get a ring, you still got to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Here's the thing.
You still got to look at him as one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Going back to Chad, going back to what you said, about players getting DM'd. I posted something on my Snapchat story about, I don't know if you saw that Rays pitcher, what happened to him.
No.
He threw a wild pitch, and it was a wild pitch. The other team ended up walking off and winning the game on.
Yeah.
And after the game, he was trying to check a text from his wife, and the fan's like, "Hey, you sack of shit. You're not very good. You should just retire and go kill yourself." And like players get that for like they can't be perfect. Like they're pro athletes. Like everybody's gonna make a mistake. And I was like, dude, like this is why pro athletes.
I will remind you. Yeah, I will remind you. These people aren't. I mean, these people are unhinged. Like you can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't even have the words to describe how ridiculous that is. Could you imagine assuming that someone who's playing at the highest level of any sport are they supposed to be perfect on every single play, every single pitch, every game, every night, every week, every season?
If it wouldn't be fun. Who's going to win.
Wouldn't just a bunch of guys be hitting 1,000 and all pitchers would have 0.00 ERAs at the same time?
Every single score would be 0-0.
Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose on almost every single play in every single sport, right?
I got a better question for you, Chad.
Okay.
Are these players even supposed to care what fans think?
They shouldn't. But listen, they're human, Jackson. They're human beings. I mean, when people are threatening your family in social media direct messages because you've thrown a wild pitch or you've missed a field goal or you dropped a pass or you struck out or you gave up a home run. Listen, there's no situation where that's ever going to be acceptable. Ever.
Nope.
Ever. I mean, it's just I don't understand the mindset. It's exactly like what we talked about before with guys, messaging high school kids on social media because they committed to Michigan over Ohio State. Who cares? Go get it, young man. Like go have your career, man. Go do what's best for you and your family and your situation. It has nothing to do with me as a fan at all. And I mean, fans take it so personally. I don't understand, man. I mean, how many prospects are there a year? There's 25 guys, let's say on average, commit to every Division I program every year. So you've got 130. Let's just do the simple, quick math, right? You've got, let's say 2,500 players. Are they all supposed to go to Columbus and compete for a spot?
Yes.
I mean, of course they are, right? Otherwise, they're afraid of competition. They're soft. Iron sharpens iron, but marshmallow softens marshmallow. Like, what are we talking about? There are plenty of opportunities out there to go play at great schools and great programs for great coaches. And I mean, the kids are going to pick whatever's best for them, period. That's it.
Most of these guys that troll never played sports themselves.
Ever.
One of my favorite fan interaction stories was a story Jason Kipnis was telling to Trevor Bauer, and he's like, we're in Boston, and he's like, I'm standing on the front of the dugout, and he's like,
just remember that my family is watching. So Ben, I just want to remind you of that.
I know. Kip's like, Jason Kipnis is like, I don't normally talk to fans during games. He's like, I'm sitting on the dugout, he's like, I just struck out, and he's like this little 8-year-old fan comes on, he's like, Kip. He's like, what? He's like, leave me alone, I'm playing. The guy's like, Kip. So he's like, he turns around and the kid goes, hey, you stink. And like that's one of the ones that's like funny. Like
it's really funny. That's really funny. That's no big deal. Yeah. It's not personal. Yeah. And
it's like and Kip's like, at that point he's like, I just had to laugh. He's like, because I don't talk to fans during games, but he's like, I finally turned around. And he's like, it's this little 8-year-old kid, and he's like, hey, Kipnis, you stink.
It's funny. Like, at that point, I'm probably like, yeah, I know, kid. I know.
That's what fans are supposed to do. Fans have the right to criticize. Fans have the right to boo. They paid their ticket. Yeah. There's just certain lines you don't cross. You don't go racial. You don't talk about the dude's wife. I mean, there's just certain things you don't do. But for the most part, as an athlete, there's a dynamic between players and fans. Even your favorite. There's never a moment where it's always good between your favorite.
No. I mean, you've had plenty of times I've been disappointed in my favorite players, but I've never once thought about,
Disrespecting them.
going on Twitter and threatening their family or
Like when Ronald
bringing up
Acuña
their
did
race or
Ronald-
religion in a negative manner. Like, I just don't. What?
Chad, like when Ronald Acuña didn't run out that pop up.
Yeah. Cut him. I mean, get him out of here. Yeah, I don't understand. How does that enter your mind? Anyway, we're talking about Shohei Ohtani. I don't know how we got on this.
Well,
I just
anyway, we're gonna have to talk about mental health awareness.
yes, yeah. That's where that's where a lot of the problems arise, and that's not even it's not even trying to. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It's just it's seriously where a lot of problems arise. It's mental health. I mean, we probably have some people that need to seek some help, and I don't mean that in a negative manner at all.
You think they suck as fans? They suck as employees. They suck as spouses. They suck as drivers.
Yeah.
I
think you've got to remember that you are not the most important thing. You have to put other people in front of you. You have to remember like priorities, right? Like I, as a fan, am not the most important thing to the Braves, right? Like the Braves don't care how I feel. If they trade my favorite player tomorrow, they're not going to ask me. I mean, they're going to make a decision that's best for the franchise, right? Like they're going to do what they need to do, what they feel they need to do. They might be wrong, and I can go online, I can go on social media and say, hey, I don't agree with this trade. But it's one thing to like, what am I going to start, DMing Alex Anthopoulos and telling him his wife stinks and his kids are booty or something? What do you like? I don't get this. Man. I don't understand.
Like when Modell moved the Browns, can you imagine if that was done during social media days?
Oh my gosh.
What's even crazier, it wasn't like Modell called the Browns fans and asked, hey, you guys care if I move it to – oh, you don't want me to? Okay.
Right. I truly believe he felt that he did what he was forced to do. And here's the thing, too, with Art Modell. Do you know that people recently – there was a poll. So Browns basically said, like, hey, Browns fans basically said that they were asked, if the Browns can win the Super Bowl, if you forgave Art Modell, would you do it? And people were like, no, I don't care. I don't care if the Browns never win a Super Bowl. I'll never forgive Art Modell. What? I'm so confused. Like, isn't the point of watching your favorite franchise to watch them win? Like, you're really going to let this petty little thing – you would really let that weigh over your team winning a Super Bowl?
I'm pretty sure Art Modell's dead.
I'm pretty sure he's been dead for quite some time and probably doesn't care about what any of us think.
Exactly. Right? He'd love to know he's being talked about right now.
It's probably the most Art Modell merch sold when he died.
Yeah. Seriously. Anyway, let's get back to Shohei Ohtani. This isn't fair to him, right? I do want to talk about kind of his like how he's been. Through 93 games this year. He's unreal. He's hitting 306 with 35 home runs, 75 RBIs. Look at the OPS. I mean, the on-base plus slugging is absolutely ridiculous. So we talk about
he's not
only does he lead the league in home runs, he also leads the league in triples now too.
Yeah.
He hit his 8th triple the season last night or a couple nights ago.
But we still want more. Some fans want more. He has to prove more.
He's not good enough. Angels haven't won a World Series. Like
he's got to double it all.
Now.
Right.
He's supposed to have 70 homers by now.
Yeah. What's wrong with this guy? I hit 650 in Little League with 80 home runs. I don't understand. And I pitched too. Who cares?
Right. I hit like 100 home runs in the show. I can't even.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Summer League.
Yeah, I'm almost home runs per at bat, man. I don't understand that.
1 per.
Yeah, what are we doing here? But yeah, and then I just want to compare it to Aaron Judge because obviously Aaron Judge has the American League record in home runs, and through 93 games, I mean, they're really similar. I mean, Judge was hitting 284 at this time last year. He had one more home run, 77 RBIs. If we can put that Judge, there you go. And the OPS is really similar, 999, still ridiculous.
Very close.
But the point is, I mean, Ohtani is actually having a little bit better of a season, with the batting average, triples, whatever. He's right there. Do you think Ohtani is going to get to 62?
I think he will, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think he will.
He'll have a few 2 home run games, I think, down the
It'll
stretch.
be like Judge. It'll be where he has that game where he hits 2, that one game where he might not hit any, but then he'll hit 3 the next game or stuff like that, and it's going to
hit like 8 in a week.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he'll get to 60. He'll get to 62. I don't know if he'll get past 62, but he'll get to 60. He'll get above 60.
Will he break the record?
I don't
Well, he's
think he'll break the
literally on a
record.
pace for 60.9 home runs right now. So he's right there. I mean, it's not far off. It's not unreasonable to say he'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible though what he's doing. I mean, after the year Judge had last year, I always think, that nobody's going to come close to this record in years, and Judge might do it this year.
Now I'm going to ask Jackson, because Jackson has the ugly hat on. Do you think this diminishes what Aaron Judge did last year at all? Do you think? I mean, does it wipe out what he did? I mean, if Shohei goes for 64, do we forget about Judge hitting 62? I mean,
in all fairness, that's usually how it goes. How often do you remember the guy who did second place?
Yeah.
I mean, Judge had his moment. He had his year. But the thing you got to remember is look who the guy is. That's good company.
Yeah.
Ohtani. I mean, if anybody's going to break the record, it should be him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
And
Like,
Morano.
Judge would even appreciate, like, if anybody's got to break my record, it would be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be ashamed if I'm Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani breaks my record. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of there at all.
Yeah.
Because in all fairness, Judge still has an opportunity to break that record before his career.
Yeah.
These
He's got
guys
to
are
be
both.
healthy. What
Ohtani-
is going on with Judge? By the way, what's going on with his health right now?
He had that toe injury or whatever, and last I saw is that he wasn't getting surgery, so I don't know how long until he's back. But
I thought he had taken some batting practice, maybe.
He is batting and moving around.
Okay.
They're trying to get it to where he can run, but there's a lot of pain still.
Yeah.
We should see him before the season ends. I guess the only question is, will it be too late?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're falling out of that division. They're even falling out of the wild card.
Josh
We're talking
Donaldson's probably going to be out indefinitely. So
yeah,
Yeah, I think he's done for the season with that calf.
talking about Judge's toe. I was on TikTok the other day and I saw a clip from David Ross talking about Ken Griffey when he broke his toe and he was on a 20-day IL. He's like, yeah, the morning of the game, he was out there, he was taking BP and flip flops, and we're not thinking, oh, he's not going to play at all. And David Ross, he's like, no, I'm in the dugout, and he's on the phone talking to Vitamin Water about like a brand deal. And the manager looks up and goes, Ken, he goes, Griffey, here's your pinch hitting. So Griffey, gets his bat on, gets his gloves on, gets his helmet on, walks out there, hits a 3-run go-ahead bomb, comes back in the dugout. They put him in the defensive replacement for him. He goes right back on the phone to Vitamin Water and just continues.
They never ended that call. They just held for him. They're like, yeah, we'll hold. No problem.
Yeah. David Ross was like, he literally just set the phone down, got his bat, went out there, hit a 3-run bomb, and came back in and picked up the phone again and was like, hello.
Did you say he had a toe injury when that happened?
Yeah, he had a broken toe. He took batting practice and flip-flops before the game.
That's a really good TikTok toe video.
And then he hit a 3-run bomb to take the lead, and then they put a defensive replacement in for him because he couldn't run.
Man.
But you know what? Aaron Judge, that wasn't a break. He tore a ligament.
No, I know. I'm just saying it was just I just saw a video about somebody's toe being hurt, so I just thought it was.
Ben just wanted to grasp the opportunity to talk about toes, Jackson. We're good. It's no problem.
But I mean, I'll give Ben this much: an injured toe, a painful toe, is a painful toe.
Yeah, it's tough.
Whether you broke it or you strained it, a ligament, you're not good. Man,
Yeah, it's the first thing that hits the ground. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's literally your base of operations, man. It's really hard when your feet aren't under you.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, as soon as you step down, you'll know if it's going to be a good day or not.
Oh yeah.
Your first step.
You will be towed immediately. Speaking of Griffey and all these guys, did you hear about the legend home run derby?
I'm all for it, dude.
I love it.
I want to
Can't
see
wait.
that.
I'm all for
I
it.
hope they make it happen.
I want to see Big Poppy.
Yes.
There's talks next year that
There's already some interest, man. They got Jim Tomey's interested. Like you said, Big Poppy, Ken Griffey Jr. Who else? Albert Pujols showed some interest.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds did.
Barry
Throw
Bonds.
in Canseco.
Yeah, Barry Bonds showed interest too.
I know Canseco can still hit, man.
Sammy Sosa.
Prove at this point that you know what, your ego is everything at this level. You're not going to get to play again. People really don't know you unless you're our age or really about that life. This is huge to them. It's like when Mike Tyson got back in the ring at 50 something.
Yeah.
This is as close to big leagues as you're going to get again. I would love to see this.
And by the way, when Tyson got back in the ring, I paid for that, and I enjoyed every second of it, man. Loved it.
We all
loved it.
But look, the only thing better with baseball players would be if they let like Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez pitch, Doug Glavine, Smoltz. Get the legends out there and really go at it.
Well, see, now I was going to ask you, if they do this home run derby, do you think they'll do it like? I mean, do you think they'll? Will it be baseball? Will it be slow pitch softball? Do you think they'll do anything?
Here's the thing. I think it'll be baseball.
Okay.
But I don't think it'll be the same rules as. I don't think it'll be like the 3 minutes. You know, I think
It'll be the classic.
I think the Legends one will be the classic version. You know, you got 10 outs. You know.
Yeah.
Yes. Better version.
I think that's what they'll do because I don't think the Legends want to go out there and stand there for 3 minutes and try and hit home runs. Like,
I don't think some of them can.
Yeah. Like. So I think they're going to do the 10 out the 10 out one, which I think
10 hours
would be better. But
did you say 10 hours?
An accident, yes, I did.
That's a significant amount of time to stand up there and swing, man.
A lot of home runs. It's a lot of
14-day process.
You walk out of the box, you're out.
It's a death match.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope they make that happen. I want to see that happen. I think that could be fun.
Get Albert Bell in that.
Right? Well, Albert Bell might hurt somebody, but it's fine.
It's going to start a fight in the game.
Joey all right.
They should have a team, though.
Well, listen, I personally, I don't know if Ohtani's going to get to 62 home runs or not. I was going to ask you guys, do you think his pitching suffers at all down the stretch if he's kind of getting close? I mean, I don't. He doesn't really seem like the kind of guy that would lack discipline to me.
No,
I'd say no.
I mean, I just think that you know, with how long he's done it and how good he's been at it, I think you would have already seen a decline if he wasn't, like you said, disciplined.
That's
because
fair.
You know, he's going out there. You know, he's got a 3 ERA.
Yeah.
You know, he's striking out a bunch of hitters. And if he wasn't disciplined, I think you would see a slip in his pitching or his hitting, whichever one, you know, he wasn't focusing on.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not like he has to go out there and then play right field. They're just sticking him at DH, so it's not like he's got much to worry about on the field. He's just got to go up there and hit.
Right.
So, I mean.
Which, by the way, Ben, I know you don't mean it this way, but some people look at that as a slight against him. Like, well, he doesn't even have to play defense. Well, I mean, what do you want? He's pitching every 5 days. I mean, he literally can't go out there and play the outfield.
Yeah.
But what he gets to do are the 2 things he's best at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hit and pitch
the ball.
So we use that as a knock. Well, he can't even play defense. He's clearly not the best in the book. Stop.
You don't need him playing out there.
Yeah.
No, it's really just honestly, you're just taking more of a chance of losing 2 players if he gets injured.
And him with the owner.
Yeah.
Why would you want him running around?
No, you don't.
See, now I was listening to, or I was reading an article about him, and somebody's like, you know, say the Angels, you know, make it to the playoffs, right? And you need, like, you know, and you absolutely want him in the game at all times. Like, yeah, you could throw him in right field and DH somebody else, but you're not going to.
Why would you?
You're not going to unless it's an absolute necessity because you don't want him getting hurt.
Yeah. The Angels' outfield defense doesn't lack. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
They've got guys in the. If they really needed a supplement in outfield defensively, they've got Joe Adell. They've got plenty of guys in the minors they could bring up.
You don't need Ohtani at risk to run into the wall or another player. It's just there's no reason ever in any universe.
And he doesn't need to be throwing 1 or 2 days after throwing, 90 pitches in a game either. He doesn't need to be throwing somebody out at third base from right field. You know what I mean?
Chad, you might remember this. Do you remember his first year in the league? He threw 117 pitches in 7 innings, and they stuck him out in right field.
Yeah,
he played outfield. I remember.
And it's like, dude, you want to get this guy throw 117 pitches, then you're gonna stick him in right field and be like, hey, I want you to make a 400-foot throw from the fence to home plate.
Straight little league.
Yeah. Like, if your arm hurts, I don't care. You're making the throw. Like you want him to get hurt?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, listen, we're running out of time. I do want to get to a couple of things really quickly. I want to stop in. It's time for, honestly, what's become kind of one of my favorite features, man. It's time for Kicking It with Benny, man. We're going to talk about some soccer. It's Women's World Cup time, man. Like, we literally kick off in less than 24 hours. We got New Zealand and Norway, at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Tonight into tomorrow, right? That's the first match. Yeah. Ben, what do you got on the Women's World Cup?
I mean, obviously, USA is going for their, 3rd World Cup in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And what's even crazier is they have one of the oldest average ages of World Cup rosters, and they're still the favorites to win it all.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because a lot of times, you see teams, that have, the highest average age, and they're towards the bottom, for favorites to win it all.
Sure.
But it just shows you that how good our women's team is.
Yeah.
It's like, we can throw out some of the oldest players we have, and we're still better than most of these other teams' younger players. And
Yeah, these aren't names hanging on for marketing purposes. Like, they can go win.
Like I said, Alex Morgan, USA is one of their top star players, had a faster sprint speed at 34 years old than she did at 18.
Nice.
Like, that shouldn't happen.
That's technology and training, man. That's
Yes, Jackson?
How important is this World Cup potential run compared? Like, how good is this team compared to the previous teams that won the World Cup?
I don't think we're as good as the previous teams that won the World Cup, but I still think we're the best team in the world. Like, if you put our team from, 4 years ago that won the World Cup, they'd smoke this team without a question. Like, it wouldn't even be close. But I just think that we're still good enough to the point where no team in the world is going to beat us because, it's not like we have just all strictly old players. We have a bunch of, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds that are still good, but complemented by a bunch of old veterans that have been there for, they're going into the third, fourth World Cup. So they know what it takes to win. And then you have all these young ones that are good, and they're going to be the next generation. So it's only giving them more experience and better playing time. So, and they're still really good. So I think this run could be important for the younger guys, for the younger girls, not as much as the older girls, because a lot of them, this is going to be their last World Cup. And they want to go out there and they want to win their last World Cup.
Yeah.
But for the younger girls, they're going to want to set a precedent for the ones behind them that when they're the veterans, they can be like, hey, this is what it takes to win a World Cup. Yeah. So I think it's important. I still think I don't think for history, it's important because, they're going for 3 in a row. But for USA women's soccer history, I don't think it's as important as the other two because they're heavy favorites in this one. So it's not like, if they lose, then people are going to bash on them. But they're not. I just think it's not as important as the other two.
I got you. I have a couple questions for you. Who's their biggest threat in this tournament?
Vietnam. That's who we start off against.
No, that's it. It's always the next game, right? It's always the next opponent.
I think our biggest. I think our biggest one is Spain, Australia, not Australia. Yeah, Spain, Australia, England, Brazil. Those are the teams that have given us issues in the past. In the Olympics, we lost Australia 5-2. So we got smoked by them. So we could play them again in the World Cup. So I think those are the teams to watch out for. But like I said, I think we're just far and above everybody else that it's not gonna be close. But I could be wrong. But if we win 3 in a row, it'll be historic, and I think you'll see a bunch of players retire. A bunch of the older people retiring from international play after this World Cup.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of like their last hurrah. Like, hey, give us one more shot to win you guys another World Cup.
How many countries have won 3 in a row?
I think they'd be the first ever.
Is that okay? I was gonna say, has that ever happened before?
For
okay.
women?
Yeah, I believe they'd be the first. I believe they'd be the first ever.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll look that up. We'll look it up, and if we're wrong, we'll correct it next week. We'll let you know. But
Teams have won 3. Teams have won 3, but I don't think any team's ever won 3 in a row.
Okay.
Who do you think has a better chance of winning it this year, the U.S. or the field?
USA or what?
The field.
The field.
USA.
Okay. They're that far and away, that much better. Okay.
I wonder what they open up at.
Yeah, I forget. I don't know I saw the line a couple weeks ago, but they played this friendly against Wales before they left, and Alex Morgan didn't even touch the ball till the 80th minute in the second half, and they won 2-0.
Well, that's not fair because Wales don't even have feet to kick the ball.
USA is plus.
That's just dumb.
At the minute.
Yeah, but their best player didn't even touch the ball till 80 minutes in the second half.
I'm sorry.
That's a
So if you can beat a team without your best player touching the ball until 80 minutes left, until 80 minutes in the second half, it's pretty good. And when she's going to be the vocal point during the World Cup, I think we're okay.
Sounds good to me. And listen, just because we really are running out of time, Ben, is there anything else you want to touch on in the soccer world right now? Is there anything you have?
That's it. Besides the Messi introduction video, had 10.3 billion views.
Did you say billion?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it yet, bro.
Yeah, it had 10.3 billion views.
His introduction video.
Or something.
Could you
like
imagine if he was popular?
Right?
That's so cool, though, man. That's really cool. I don't envy him. I would not want to not be able to go anywhere in public ever. But that's really cool, man. Like that's really a cool thing. Listen, so this got me thinking. Like, obviously, we're going to be rooting for the the United States women's soccer team to win the World Cup. That's one of our favorite teams right now. But thinking back to like not necessarily your favorite. Like, I'm a Braves fan, right? Like I was a Raiders fan for a long time. When I was a kid, I was a Bulls fan. Kind of switched to a Cavs fan since I moved up here. And honestly, I was a Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan. Like, I'll just be honest about it. But looking back, like who, like in just the history of like your guys is watching sports, who are some of your favorite teams to watch just from all sports? Like just that one, not even like the franchise itself, but like the 1 year, the one off, like, the I don't know, the 99 Braves or the 87 Ohio State Bucks, just something like that. I mean, who are some of your guys' favorites looking back?
And, before we get into this, I just want to say, we do have a special guest today with us. We have producer Brian joining us today.
Okay.
And he's gonna chip in on this one. So
perfect.
All
right.
Welcome Brian to the show for us.
Hey, welcome.
So, Brian, why don't we start with you? What are some of your favorite teams?
You mentioned a couple players earlier. Growing up, the Indians with Carlos Baerga, with Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell, like Jose Mesa. That was just such a fun team to watch, especially as a kid. I think either you support the local team because your parents do, or you're a front runner and you love whoever was just, and I was a big Bulls fan. I was a front runner as a kid.
Same.
But I loved that team. It wasn't until I was older that I really appreciated the home teams.
Yeah.
But that team was just so much fun to watch. And I've got to go with that team. With basketball, I'd have to say there were a couple versions of the Sacramento Kings, like kind of back to back, a few, roster changes, but that whole series that had, Bibby and Vlade Divac and Chris Webber and White Chocolate were just so much fun to watch.
I've seen highlights of that team, and it looked fun to watch.
They're just incredible. I would have loved it if they'd won a championship, but they were just fun and entertaining and just move the ball. I'd have to say those are two. I wasn't huge on football. I was so big I wasn't allowed to play until I was like 14. I was the weight limit in 4th grade was 80 pounds.
Jeez.
And I was 5 feet tall, 120 pounds when I was 10. So I didn't care about football until I got older because I wasn't even allowed to play.
Right.
But the greatest show on turf was really exciting. Like,
that's what I've heard.
And when I went back, I ended up going to school in St. Louis, and there were a lot of Rams fans there. I had players that I liked, but as far as a team, that one was pretty fun to watch.
With a grocery bagger at quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next. We'll kind of go around in a circle here. I didn't really pick an NBA team because I didn't really get into the NBA until a few years ago. But I'm gonna go with a soccer team here. One of my favorite soccer teams ever was Barcelona from a couple years ago. They had Messi, Neymar, Suarez, 3 of the biggest players in the world at the time. And they didn't win the Champions League. They didn't win their league title. But the game that just showed you how good those 3 players were was they were playing PSG, and in the Champions League, it's aggregate score between you play 2 games, one home and one away. They were down 5-0 at home, and they went on this miraculous run, scored 5, tied it at 5-5, and then PSG comes down, scores a goal, makes it 6-5, and then Messi plays this ball over the top, and Neymar hits a diving header to score it to give them the lead to win the game against PSG, and that was one of the most fun teams I've ever watched play. And it was so much fun to watch because you had 3 of the best players in the world in their prime, all on the same team, all attacking at the same time. Like, if I was a goalkeeper, I'd be like, you can just score, go ahead. Like, I'm not even going to try.
Just give our guys the ball back. Yeah.
I think for baseball, I think it's got to be, for me, kind of like Brian said, you got players, where you got, the hometown team. And for me, it was the Guardians in 2016. Unfortunately, we fell short, but, that team was a joy to watch. Lindor, Ramirez, Santana, all those guys, and led by, Terry Francona, who's just a class act. That dude he's fun to watch. And I think that team was just fun in general. You had Rajai Davis in that electric home run in Game 7. You had just all these guys that were just having fun. And it made the games fun for me to watch because, I'm tuning in to watch a game, a 3-hour-long game. And if it can't keep me entertained, I'm going to fall asleep or go do something else.
Yeah.
And I was watching every single playoff game, every single moment because it was just so much fun to watch.
Yep.
And then I think for me, for the NFL, I think I'd have to. I mean, you guys can call me homers, or you guys can call me, bandwagon all you want, but mine has to be the Steelers team. A couple years ago, that had Bell, Ben, and Antonio Brown. The Killer Bees. That team was fun to watch. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but man, they were electric to watch. They were fun to watch. So, I mean, Jamo, what about you?
I'll start off with football. One of my favorite football teams. Oh man, this is okay. Well, I'd have to go. This is an interesting pick. This is the 2014 Cleveland Browns. Now, this is probably like, what? Why? Why is that? What did we do that year? Well, I'll tell you what. We drafted one of my favorite college players ever, Johnny Manziel. And that was great. I don't care. At the time, I was happy, loved it, ran down my whole street, ran around the block. It was amazing.
Good on you for admitting that, man. Good on you for admitting that.
We had Johnny Football. We had Walter White, a.k.a. Mike Pettin, was our coach.
Ooh,
that was memorable. He was a great underrated guy.
He was the one who knocked, for sure.
The defense led the league in interceptions. I remember I'd tune into every Browns game every week, and it would be guys like Joe Hayden or Dante Hittner, or Dante Whitner, but we called him Dante Hittner, the Hitman, or Paul Kruger when he was on the Browns getting picks. Guys like that, Jabal Sheard, Buster Screen before he got paid. But like watching that team was great because we were winning with the hometown guy, Brian Hoyer, and our backup quarterback was just this party maniac who was always in trouble.
It was like a WWS out there, man.
And then our star receiver could have been an extra in a Tommy Chong movie, but he was the best receiver in the league with like Calvin Johnson and AB at that time.
Yep.
Like it was just an interesting and just fun team to watch. Not to mention Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel were on the coaching staff. So that was cool. Knowing what we know now. Baseball, I mean, Ben said the 2016 Indians, but I don't want to say that. Baseball. I would honestly have to say this is like so random, but those Mariners teams from like 2017 to 18 when they had Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz, like they had like no one else. But, like, it was, like, guaranteed, like, at least 3 to 4 times a week you'd see Robinson Cano or Nelson Cruz tee off for the game of their life with, like, 2 home runs and, like, 2 doubles. And then you'd have, like,
in that giant park, in that huge park.
Yes, in the huge – that's what it was like, watching players on the Mariners hit bombs in that park. You really grow a respect for that player because that is not a small park at all. Like,
Griffey would be something about 820 right now if he wouldn't have played in Seattle in that park.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to hit some, like, bombs to get deep out of there. But, and then basketball, I like the 2016 Cavs. That was great. That was great. I'll never forget it. Watching every finals game from the first 4 games to saying, like, oh, should I watch game 5? That was great. But the 2013 Knicks were something. I'm not going to lie. 6th man of the year, J.R. Smith. You had Amon Shumpert with the box cut. You had leading scorer in the NBA, Carmelo Anthony. Defensive player of the year, Tyson Chandler. You had Marcus Camby and Kurt Thomas backing up Tyson Chandler. You had the fattest point guard of all time, Raymond Felton. He was cool. He can make some shots. That team was just great with Mike Woodson coaching them.
So they went 68-14 and won a title, right?
Oh, no.
No, they did. Okay. All right.
No, of course. No. Sadly, there was this team with LeBron in South Beach. They kind of, ran into that. But it was a great team to watch, But those would be my 3 favorite teams.
So,
of all time.
Okay.
Jackson, what about you now? What are some of your favorite teams ever?
Well, I'm a Yankee fan, Laker fan. I'm a Steeler fan. I'm an Oiler fan. So let's just get that out now. As far as teams that stand out over my 49 years, baseball, the '88 Dodgers. I'm talking Oral Hershiser, Kurt Gibson, Mike Scioscia.
Fernando
Buster
Valenzuela.
Yeah, man. This team was classic. It's one of the first teams that really got me interested in baseball per se.
Yep.
Like I was a Yankee fan on the surface, but that World Series in particular was going to start really getting into it. Basketball, I like the Bad Boys Pistons. Their championship years. They
Okay.
kind of changed the face of the league for a minute. It was kind of like they were the team. Everybody else was playing basketball, but then when it came to them, they kind of were in their own league as far as entertainment and basketball. I'm talking Dennis Rodman, Dumars, Thomas, Bill Laimbeer. It's a very uncanny group, but man, they got it done back to back in an era when that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Football. My football team, this may be a little shocking, but I'm really feeling the Raiders from like 89, 88 with Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, Willie Gault, Tim Brown. I
Jay
love
Schrader at quarterback.
Hey man, I love that era. It's the era
Yeah.
NWA and Ice Cube was wearing Raiders gear. Like that was a very memorable moment in the NFL as
Yep.
far as tying in the pop culture. And finally, the hockey team. I'm gonna have to say the Edmonton Oilers '87. Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Yari Curry, Paul Coffey, Grant Fuhr. It was loaded with future Hall of Famers at the time. And at this time, this is probably when Edmonton was at the peak of their dynasty mode. And they're going up against a great Philadelphia team with Tim Kerr, Ron Hextall, pre-Eric Lindros days. But Mark Howe was on that team, Gordie Howe's son. I came up through the 80s when a lot of these teams that I'm mentioning, it's what got me kind of falling in love with the sports themselves.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this segment because I haven't got to mention or think about those teams in a long time.
Man, he went back there with Oral Hershiser. I had a game
Oh, that's the Bulldog.
on it was a computer game in like the 90s, like floppy disk style. Oral Hershiser Strike Zone, like OG baseball computer game.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in forever. I think I still have that somewhere.
So, Chad, what about you? What are some of your favorite teams ever?
Man, it's you guys have brought up some really good teams, man. And I got to tell you, when I was a younger kid playing baseball, I had a Fernando Valenzuela Rawlings glove, like with the Valenzuela signature in the palm. You know what I mean? So yeah, those teams were. I loved Hershiser and Valenzuela out there. Wasn't a Dodgers fan, but I did like the Dodgers though.
Yeah.
And it made me actually start reading into like Dodgers history, like guys like Sandy Koufax and John Drysdale. Just it kind of made me like interested in what was going on back in the day with them.
That's my National League team, Dodgers.
What? Yeah, I had a Dodgers hat and a jersey back then because I love those guys. But I was a Braves fan, But I will say this: I'm trying to stay away from like my favorite team in baseball. So with baseball, the 1990 Reds, man, were one of my favorite teams to watch. Wire to wire, they led the division the entire year. Won the division. It was the National League West back then, and they went on, to the World Series, to this juggernaut. They played this Oakland A's absolute monster, right? I mean, everyone knew the Reds were going to get swept. They had no chance. It was like, how'd the Reds even win the West? Like, it doesn't make sense. How'd they win the National League? What's even going on? And they just casually went out there and swept Oakland like Oakland had never played baseball before, man. I mean, watching Eric Davis and Chris Sabo, Jose Rijo. Tim Burtsis was on that team. That was Paul O'Neill was out in right field. I mean, they had a great squad, man. That was a fun team.
About that, my dad went to the first game in Cincinnati and sat right behind home plate.
Okay. Oh, the first World Series game.
Yeah, 1990.
That's awesome. I actually remember listening to that game on the radio. It was in my parents' car. We were driving somewhere, and I was Eric Davis, I think, had like a big double or triple that game. I can't remember what it was, but I remember listening to that game on the radio. And as far as basketball, man, for me, nothing beats like the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls NBA on NBC days. Like, come on, man, that theme song, like, dude, I still like it pops into my and like I get chills, right? Because like I was about to watch Michael Jordan play. You know what I mean? Like I love those days so much. And in football, man, I just want to keep it like kind of short because we're running out of time. You guys are gonna think this is weird, man, but I loved watching two teams. I'm going to go with two teams. Both kind of, late 80s, early 90s. Loved watching the Houston Oilers. Absolutely loved watching the Oilers play with Warren Moon. And I mean, all those receivers. Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, just bombs all over the field. They were tough, right? And I loved the Eagles because of Randall Cunningham, man. So I tried to watch the Eagles, and maybe the 85 Bears would be another team because I loved watching Walter Payton. So yeah, man. And obviously the 85 Bears were just completely dominant. I mean, they were what they were. But yeah, I love those Eagles teams with Randall Cunningham, and I loved Warren Moon and the Oilers jerseys and just the whole look, the oil tower on the helmet. I love that, man. Like, that's nostalgia for me.
Run and shoot, Jerry Glanville.
Yes, man, Jerry Glanville. Yes, he actually coached it. Yeah, man. He
used to dress in all black on the sideline.
I believe I would have to look this up, but I believe I remember that Jerry Glanville was actually an assistant coach at my high school for a year. Like, somehow that ended up happening. I don't remember. I'd have to look that up to verify that. But I think it was Jerry Glanville who ended up coaching at my high school for a year, like back in the 60s or 70s or something. But
man,
yeah, man, those teams were unbelievable to watch, man. Unbelievable. Randall Cunningham just changed the game. I mean, Randall Cunningham ran all over. He was so dynamic to watch. And like I said, Warren Moon just throwing bombs all. I mean, those teams were fun, man.
He could punt.
Yeah.
And he could punt a bomb, too.
Yeah.
I got to throw one more in there that was an honorable mention. I went back and forth for basketball. It was like the first couple years when Shaq was in Orlando with like Dennis Scott and Penny Hardaway and Shaq it was just so much fun.
Yep. A lot of fun. Another one of my favorite basketball teams to watch. Sorry, I got to say it. The Akron Aviators. One of my favorites, man. One of my favorites. There you go.
Well, I mean, Brian, thanks for joining the show today.
Yeah, always appreciate it.
I mean, that was a good topic, to talk about at the end there. Favorite, because like you said, everybody has their favorite teams, or their favorite players, they like watching, and it's not always your favorite team. It was good to talk about. Had fun.
Absolutely.
You know what? I got an honorable mention that has to be mentioned because it's quite unique. LeBron James's high school team.
Okay.
That's a legendary team right there, brother.
Okay.
Yeah,
another legendary team. Another legendary team is our squad right here, man. You guys are like my most legendary team to watch, man. I watch you guys every Wednesday on YouTube. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like I'm even a part of it. But hey, we are definitely running out of time. We went way over what we were trying to go over today. But it was fun, man. I don't want to stop talking about all these old teams, man. That was a blast. We got to do this more often.
Before we leave, I just want to give a shout out. I think he's watching. My buddy, Mr. Kobe. I love you. Something we love. Talking about sports. So if you're watching, we appreciate the support.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Shout out. Still watching. What's up, Lori?
Jameson's mom, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Mom, for watching and tuning in.
Any support we can get, man. You know what I mean? Yes. Look, we got another guest. The old Pistons, Dumars and Lambeer.
What's up?
Ooh, AI. Those Sixers teams with AI were, AI was fun to watch, man.
Absolutely.
Right? All right, guys. Hey, for Jameson and Ben and Jackson, and for our special guest, Brian, I'm Chad. This has been another episode of Come On Ref. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Take care.
Take it easy, guys.